Good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Williamson, today's service coordinator. Welcome to the North Chapel. Can you hear me? Take my mask off? Okay. Part of my Halloween costume. I want to welcome you to the North Chapel on this misty, moisty morning, coming out for Halloween. And don't be discouraged, trick-or-treaters. The rain adds a little air of gloom to everything, so it makes it even better Halloween. That candy will taste even better. We have some special treats for you for showing up today in your costume, so that's really special. I don't know if you can notice I'm wearing some tape here on my shirt. It's supposed to be red tape, that was my costume, but I realized it's actually more pink. I think today, this month has been Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so it's appropriate for that. I'm not trying to be Pink Floyd. Somebody else has won the prize. Great mystery guest that we have here. But I was thinking for Halloween, I thought I might be a baseball nut, but if you know me, you know I'm already a baseball nut. And besides, it's not really that scary. I thought instead, with the red tape and these glasses, I could be an IRS auditor, and I think that's really scary. So that's what I'll do. And I'll see if they can help me read what I'm supposed to. Speaking of Halloween, after today's service, we were originally going to have a little reception outside, a little fun and games, but the weather isn't accommodating us, so we'll do the best we can inside. But I want to wish you all very best witches on Halloween today. And if you're visiting today, we have in the back a guest book. We'd love to have you sign it if you would. We welcome everybody coming here. I hope the weather clears a little bit later for the real trick-or-treating that's going on. Halloween conjures fond memories for me. Taking my daughters trick-or-treating. Once I was in London on Halloween, it was great to see how the locals dressed for the occasion. And being in New York City on another Halloween and seeing how folks there embrace the holiday. I know some deride Halloween as blasphemy and devil worship, but it has its roots in Christian tradition, and it comes the day before. It is the eve of All Saints' Day. And for me, though, it's all about childhood fun, wearing costumes, and getting candy. And if I were 8 again, I'd be out there right now trick-or-treating. Leon is going to be talking about Halloween in his reflection a little bit later. I don't think we have spiritual exploration today for young children, but stick around. We've got some treats for you. You'll see many notices of events in today's order of service. Please take your time to read them, all of them. The church website also mentions all the upcoming events. The North Chapel is a hive of activity, and there are a lot of worker bees that make it all happen so smoothly. I did want to call attention to the Red Handle Flash Dinner that's coming up on this Saturday, November the 6th. This is an 85-year tradition in this church, and it is a fundraiser. Meals are $15 a piece. Place your orders with Ann Winnia. She's there in the back. And Ann has asked me to request, if you have any spare large brown bags you could bring to the church this week, just drop them off at the office. They'll be really handy handing out those meals. Plan to pick up your orders on Saturday between noon and 2 p.m. And again, that's going to be on November 6th when you can pick up those delicious red hash dinners. And right after the service, Ann is leading a corps of folks who are going to be peeling potatoes down in the kitchen in our basement. I was just down there. It looks like half the state of Idaho is piled up on a big table down there, serving table. So if you're interested, you can help out doing that. Are there any other announcements folks would like to make?
hi, online people. Good morning. Good morning and good Sunday. I hope that this new day finds you well. Today is Sunday, October 31st, and the title of this morning's reflection is Masks, Ghosts, and Gourds and Candy. What else do we need? It's a beautiful rainy day that we've been given, or at least it was rainy earlier today. Let's make the best of it. Welcome to the dreamers and to the seekers of spirit, to the soft-spoken and to the singers of life. Welcome to the bold and to the bashful. Welcome to the wanderers in the darkness of the night. Welcome to the open ones and to the broken ones among us. And bravest welcome to every blissfully imperfect soul who is just like me, blessed and beloved, given in care and compassion for one another, soul level deep, given in good times and in tempest, in conflict and in consensus, held whole and honored by a love that knows no bounds. Let no single heart from out the whole be gone from us, not gone, from the widening circles of our affection, but held whole in beauty and bound by grace and built by love. To all souls, I say good morning. It's good to be together. I left out a joy this morning. It was difficult to say it inside of a costume that was buzzing and whirring from the fan that keeps the Tasmanian devil inflated. I won't say a lot about it right now, but the joy in my heart is something that we will be explaining over the next few weeks. It's called the Brave Light Project, or the Brave Light Youth Exchange Project. For the last year or so, 2 years or so, North Chapel has been engaged to try to create a chance for area youth to get involved with a group of youth in the Boston area. And we're hoping to spend 3 weekends together to get to know one another and to tackle some major problems in our world. We'll get to travel, we'll get to know one another deeply, we'll get to put our hands on the earth, and we'll experiment with city life in Boston. And that's all I'm going to say for now. I'll say more later, but just keep that in your mind because we'll be developing that idea as we go forward. If you know of kids in the high school age, kids who might be interested in this project, please let me know, and we can move forward from there. So once again, I say to all souls, good morning. It is good to be together. All souls, indeed. Everyone is welcome here, even the ghosts and the goblins. Okay. Do you believe in ghosts? How many? I totally do. Not everybody does, so it's a good question for today. Do you know what today is? The answer to this question might affect what you believe. Today is Halloween. It's a very special day. It used to be called All Hallows Eve. In ancient times, people who lived in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, northern France, they grew an ancient myth into a holiday. They rang in a brand new year, not on the 1st of January, which is the contemporary custom, but on the first day of November. November 1st was like New Year's Day, and on the eve of this new year, which was October 31st back in the day, it was believed that the magical veil between this world and the great hereafter became extraordinarily thin. So thin that they believed back then that the normally impenetrable boundary between this world and the next could be crossed. It was believed that those who were gone from this world could return to it once again in ghostly form, as spooky goblins, as scary ghosts, as dark angels, as fiendish witches, as spirits coming back from the great beyond. It was an extraordinary time for some, but for others it was very scary. Many people worried about the ghosts and worried about what the ghosts and what the goblins might do. So to protect themselves, to appease these ghosts and goblins, food and drink were left on the doorsteps of houses in the hopes that this offering would please the ghosts and keep them from entering into the homes. And I think it works, tricking the ghosts by leaving treats on the doorstep. This may be the origin of what we now know as trick or treat. We were so afraid of ghosts, afraid enough to offer an appeasement. It didn't matter whether or not we believed in them. We just had to give them food and drink. Not only did we try to please these ghosts of ancient times, we also tried to hide from them, and we were very clever. We did not hide behind corners. We didn't hide in closets. We didn't crawl under beds or hide behind couches. We hid in plain sight right out in the open by dressing up like ghosts and goblins ourselves. Over time, as we grew less afraid of ghosts and goblins, our costumes slowly became more varied. We relaxed a bit. Nowadays, we can celebrate All Hallows Eve or Halloween, as we have come to call it. We can dress up like anything we want. We can dress up like witches or like warlocks. We can dress up like pirates or buccaneers. We can pretend to be ballerinas or belly dancers. We could put on the clothes of bureaucrats or business women and men. We can be firefighters or superheroes or rock stars. Was that Roy Orbison or who was? Oh, it was beautiful, Elvis Presley. Or I couldn't see through all of the haze of my. We can dress up like Bugs Bunny. We can dress up like Daffy Duck. And we can pretend to be an old friend of theirs who was named the Tasmanian Devil. Do you remember the Tasmanian Devil? Okay. The Tasmanian Devil was a cartoon character on the old Bugs Bunny show. He was funny, but he was also fierce at the same time. He was an extraordinary character, but for some, he was very scary. Many people worried about what the Tasmanian Devil was going to do. The Tasmanian Devil was actually kind of cute. When he wasn't whizzing, wild, and whirling around the world. He came and went like thunder. He was his own little marsupial tornado in the cartoon world. He left danger and devastation and destruction in his wake. He ate everything. There was a list, and Bugs Bunny noticed it. Bugs Bunny was reading a pamphlet, a brochure that was called What to See in Beautiful Tasmania. And in the brochure there was a warning. And the warning read, "Beware, the Tasmanian Devil is a vicious, ravenous brute with powerful jaws. He eats aardvarks, ants, bears, boars, cats, bats, dogs, hogs, buffalo, bison, eagles, elks, elephants, antelopes, pheasants, ferrets, giraffes, gazelles, stoats, goats, shoats, ostriches, oxen, lion, jackals, moose, mice, moles, snipes, muskrats, minks, dingoes, zebras, foxes, boxes, octopus, unicorns, vixens, vultures, pigeons, penguins, people, quails, ravens, roosters, and even rhinoceroses. I pronounced that correctly, by the way. He eats squids and salamanders, warthogs, yaks, newts, walruses, wolves, wildebeests, and especially rabbits. I wonder how the fearsome Tasmanian Devil would have felt about drinks. What did he drink after eating all of this deliciousness? I wonder if he would have enjoyed drinking hot chocolate. I'll return to that. So beware, and beware indeed. It's good to have written warning, but there were other warnings as well. In Bugs's day, when people saw the Tasmanian Devil approaching, the reaction was always the same. Someone would exclaim, sounding the alarm by shouting, "The Tasmanian Devil is on the loose!" And without fail, the people would respond by saying, "Run! Run! Run for your lives!" Now, if you knew about this clear and present danger from the Tasmanian Devil, you would have already done this. So clearly I have to teach this to you. Are you ready? It's fairly easy. The first I will call out, I will say, "The Tasmanian Devil is on the loose." And the response is simple. It's simply this: run, run, run for your lives. You ready? Let's try it. So I'm going to say, "The Tasmanian Devil is on the loose." The Tasmanian Devil is on the loose. You guys are good. There it is. I think we've got it. Now, in order to keep ourselves safe from the fearsome cartoon character, we've done the right thing. As for the real Tasmanian devil, the one who wears no mask, it's a very different story. In real life, the one we call the Tasmanian devil is actually poorly named. This particular member of the global living family is a carnivorous marsupial of the family Dasyuridae. I think I said that, Dasyuridae. Until recently, it was only found in the island state of Tasmania, which is where Chris Bartlett is from. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually an island off the coast of Australia, which is why the joke is there. It was introduced to New South Wales and the mainland Australia with a breeding population. Its scientific name is Sarcophagus harrisi, and its conservation status is endangered. They are distant cousins of the Australian kangaroo, and contrary to how we've named them, they're actually quite cute. I wouldn't say cuddly, because they're also, vicious, but they're cute. In Animal Logic, a documentary that I found online, the Tasmanian devil has no right being this cute is the name of the film. And its leader, Danelle Defoe, explains that deep on one of the most remote islands on this planet lives a creature that is so evil-sounding that when Westerners first heard it howling in the night, that the only name that they could come up with was devil. They looked like a bear mixed with a dog, with a pouch like a koala, which is why I love this costume. My truth is out. I've always wanted to have a pouch. I've got a paunch, but So it is that I dressed myself up today as the Tasmanian devil. Yet the documentary further explains that the name is a bit of a misnomer, to be honest, because those little guys are really all about the bluff. They can put on quite a display. They open their jaws wide, they snarl and grunt and make all kinds of noises, but they are not as aggressive as their haunting howl might lead you to believe. They are powerful and fierce, to be sure. They've got one of the strongest bites in the world, but they also have a playful and gentle side. So they're complex. There are many component parts, many ingredients. It takes time to really get to know them. For behind the scary masks that they wear, they are as complex as any one of us, full of contradictions and subtlety. So it is interesting the many varied masks that we wear these days, the medical masks, the patterned ones, the ones with signs on them or with slogans, the colors, the styles. And behind our masks, there is such complexity. What makes us up? What constitutes? What makes us who we are? Some of us might say that the recipe is rather simple. As simple, let's say, as the recipe for hot chocolate. Cocoa powder, unsweetened, granulated sugar, semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate, milk, vanilla extract. These are the right ingredients, but how shall we gather them together? What are the proper measures? What's the mix? We all know that it's not the ingredients alone that make the magic. It's how we bring them together that does the trick and makes the treat. It's how we gather together the ingredients. It's how we gather together. It's how we gather. This is just miraculous to me, how we are all ingredients coming together in proper measures, each to the best of our gift. The great question of the hero's journey is hard upon us. It's ever present, but it is especially meaningful these days. And the question is, where do our great gifts and talents meet with the world's most urgent need? Where do our gifts and talents meet with the world's most urgent needs? Answering this question is how we discover the best recipe. Challenging times bring out the best in us. I am moved by the gifts of ordinary people in extraordinary times. I am moved by the gifts of ordinary people in extraordinary times. And I am moved by how challenging times bring out the best in us. And I can hear my own self-doubt correcting me, as if with one eyebrow raised and arching, questioning, "Leon, you are too idealistic, my friend." It is more correct to say that you are moved by how challenging times bring out the best in some of us. Not all, not hardly all. My own self-doubt rails against the optimist in me, rails against what stays in me forever hopeful. But I'm not fool enough to think that my self-doubt is always right. My self-doubt plays the devil's advocate against what is best in me. My own self-doubt plays the Tasmanian devil's advocate. I can't keep it in check. It breaks its chain, and it breaks free. So, of course, I make a public warning, and I say, "My own Tasmanian devil is on the loose." And you say, I ring the bell, and I shout out from the mountaintop. I sound the alarm for all to hear. I say, "My own Tasmanian devil's advocate is on the loose," and you say, I'm not afraid of doubt. In my journey into Unitarian Universalism, I've learned to cherish doubt, but I believe that faith, not doubt, should win the day this time. I really do believe that challenging times can bring out the best in us. And I can temper that, I can soften it, but only by a little. By saying that challenging times may not always bring out the best, but it can. That choice is available to us. Challenging times can bring out the best in all of us, and I believe in that possibility. I do not foreclose on it. I'm just not built that way. Hope is almost written into my genes. It's in my DNA. Are you this way? Are you an optimist? Are you hopeful? Is hopefulness baked into you, body, mind, and soul? Have you ever wondered why it is that you are the way you are? Do you believe that things like hope and optimism are genetically determined? That we inherit them somehow? As we do green eyes and brown skin, like strong bones or curly hair or freckles? Do you think that a positive outlook on life is biologically determined, that it's in the genes, that it's written into our DNA? Or can we acquire it somehow? Can we pick it? Can we choose? Can we wear it like a mask on Halloween until it becomes a part of who we are? In 2007, I listened to an interview of a physician and a genetic scientist named Craig Venter. Dr. Venter was the driving force behind the Genome Project, the mapping of the human genetic possibility. It was an enormous endeavor, and by 2007, it was effectively at the finish line. And Dr. Venter published his book, A Life Decoded, My Genome, My Life, and in it, he talks about what motivated him. He writes, "For years, I have been trying to make sense out of the lives that I saw destroyed or maimed due to the government policies that involved us in the war in Vietnam." He had been over there as a medic when he was young. He said, "I have struggled to understand the deaths of two men who were briefly in my care, an 18-year-old who should have been alive, who should not have been alive as a result of all the wounds that he received, and a 35-year-old who should have survived, but gave up." The 35-year-old had been wounded, he had been shot. He was injured, but not critically. The 18-year-old, on the other hand, had thrown himself in front of an explosive device in order to save the lives of others around him. The 18-year-old had not planned on sacrificing himself. He was neither martyr nor hero. He did not even consider himself to be particularly courageous, but when the moment gripped him, he found himself flying through the air, throwing himself in front of others and absorbing the shock and shrapnel so that others could live. He had not planned on being a hero, but he was one anyway, and he was at peace with his choice. He was happy, even though his prognosis was grim. The 35-year-old, on the other hand, was sick with angst and doubt. He could do little more than cry and complain, indulging in his own deepest fears. And although his wound did not threaten his life, he did not survive it. Now, I don't think it's valuable to draw the obvious conclusions that our attitudes, predispositions, and outlooks on life can affect our health. We don't need Dr. Venter's example. We already know this to be true. It is important, however, to ask ourselves a better question. Do we believe that our attitudes, our predispositions, and outlooks on life are baked into us? Are they predestined? Are they genetically determined by our original recipes? Or do we have agency? Is there a choice before us in determining who we are and who we can be? Now, we are in the midst of a global crisis that is desperate to imagine how it might soon end. This end is not on the near horizon. It's out past the outer edge of our senses, but we call it close somehow. All of us call it, each to our gift. All of us call it closer when our hearts are in the right place, when we are true to them, and when we remember ourselves, remembering ourselves, slowly, safely re-becoming a community again, and for the very first time in a new world. We call it closer when we bring ourselves together in just the right way, balancing the bitter and the sweet. Deanna Jones of the Thompson Center told a story recently of one of the Thompson's activities mid-pandemic. The activity involved the COVID-safe delivery of hot chocolate to calmly waiting elders who were driving up to pick up a meal, driving up to the Thompson to pick up one of the meals that the Thompson prepares. Now, no doubt the hot chocolate was made with care. The hot chocolate was like an extra bonus. No doubt the recipe was carefully followed, the bringing together of the cocoa powder and granulated sugar, the chocolate and the milk, the vanilla extract, but there was so much more in the cup than the ingredients. This is not what the recipients received. They got something that was different, but was just as warm and just as sweet, just as rich, and just as delicious, but it was not hot chocolate. They received hope made real by a healthy community, a hope made real in the kitchen of the Thompson Center, made real on the hearth of that kitchen by caring souls, a hope kept warm in the hands of volunteers who made the curbside deliveries, a hope nurtured by the tender leadership of our caring for one another. This is what fortifies us, what sustains us, what strengthens us somehow. So if we find ourselves wounded or worried like the 35-year-old, shot through and broken by the anxieties in life, how can we still learn the wisdom of hot chocolate? How do we bring ourselves together in a way that makes life delicious? And if we find ourselves as heroes, like the self-sacrificing 18-year-old, protecting others at his own expense, we can go ahead and learn the very same things. Now, I see both of these people inside of me. I have both of these masks. I wear both of these masks. When I am grounded, I pick wisely and wear the mask that fits the occasion. And that's the point. We get to decide. There's a line of poetry that reads, "Anytime we choose, we can learn to strike a balance. We can use what tools we have, our treasure, time, and talents, to hush the wolves within us. Wolves of kindness, wolves of greed. The wolf who is triumphant is the wolf we choose to feed. Kindness is food basic to the soul." Who knew that when you bring it all together, the cocoa, the sugar, the chocolate, the milk, the vanilla extract, who knew that it tastes like kindness once it's warmed over fire? So what mask do you wear? Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic, or both of these, or maybe neither? How would you describe yourself right now? What would you strive to become in the future? Cornel West asks questions like these. He speaks about them. He does not describe himself as an optimist in challenging times, but he remains forever a prisoner of hope. He says, hope is not the same as optimism. Hope cuts against the grain. Hope is participatory. Optimism looks at evidence to see whether or not the evidence allows us to infer that we can do X or Y. Hope says, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. Some say that it matters, and some say that what does and what does not some say that it matters what does and what does not get baked into us at birth. And just to play Tasmanian devil's advocate, others say that it doesn't really matter at all, that it's who we choose to be that really matters. What do you think? What's true for us? What masks will we choose to wear on this mysterious Halloween? And more importantly, how will we nurture ourselves as we live behind them? To the fierce and the powerful Tasmanian devil and angels that live inside us all, may we enjoy this most beautiful Halloween. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.